Pacific Ocean's not very kind to Uncle Sam's battle fleet, but the great waves make an exciting picture as the giant warships bite right into them and shake them off. It's one of the toughest storms they've ever met, and it's a miracle that there weren't any serious accidents to the sailors whose duties called them to the decks. This is the Blue attacking force on their way to recapture Oahu, which the Black Army is supposed to have taken, the greatest peacetime maneuver in the history of the country. Some naval experts say that the problem actually was to see if the present land forces could take care of themselves in case of invasion by an enemy fleet. Every branch of both services is represented. Airplanes from the carriers Lexington and Saratoga are all set to do their stuff. The fleet is nearing the islands after 4 days at sea, and it's up to the aviators to bring back information about the blacks. The planes have discovered the defenders. They've done a lot of snooping around and found out about the enemy's strength. And after reporting to the fleet, they get busy with the smoke screens that fill the air to cover the landing parties of Marines and soldiers. They're as enthusiastic as though it were a real war. That's one reason. And another is that they're happy to be ashore again after a 4-day battle with old Neptune. Even soldiers can get seasick, you know. Both sides claim the victory. The Blues, because they landed their troops, and the Blacks, because they claim they'd have annihilated the whole crowd if they'd been using real ammunition. And satisfied with the important part they played, the Eagles go back to their nest, proving the value of airplanes at sea, a modern touch to an ancient weapon. Well, it was a great war. Too bad all wars aren't just like that.
I have been compelled to contrast our peace with very different scenes that are being enacted in other parts of the world. And international lawlessness began a few years ago. It began through unjustified interference in the internal affairs of other nations, or the are being wiped away without a declaration of war and without warning or justification of any kind. ships are being attacked and sunk. Nations are fomenting and taking hate war. America hopes for peace. Therefore, America actively engages in the search for peace.
As you know, this is one of my favorite spots in the United States. I'm very proud of what you're doing, what you children are doing, and what your parents are doing. And I wish that a great many people from all over the country could come here and see with their own eyes the success of this Pine Mountain Valley. There would be fewer people who scoff and ridicule if they could see this with their own eyes.
Democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people of those nations disliked democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of government confusion, government weakness. Finally, in desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in the hope of getting something to eat. We in America know that our own democratic institutions can be preserved and made to work. But in order to preserve them, we need to act together, to meet the problems of the nation boldly, and to prove that the practical operation of democratic government is equal to the task of protecting the security of the people. History proves that dictatorships do not grow out of strong and successful governments, but out of weak and helpless ones. We are a rich nation. We can afford to pay for security and prosperity without having to sacrifice our liberties into the bargain. As President of the United States, I am not asking the voters of the country to vote for Democrats next November as opposed to Republicans or members of any other party. Nor am I, as President, taking part in Democratic primaries. But as the head of the Democratic Party, charged with the responsibility of carrying out the definitely liberal declarations of principles set forth in the 1936 Democratic platform, I feel that I have every right to speak in those few instances where there may be a clear issue between candidates for a Democratic nomination involving these principles or involving a clear misuse of my own name.
Assembled to see their Majesties leave Buckingham Palace on the footed States. And a cheer. Its warmth is most evident. The Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. Then the royal coach draws up, and from it out step the King, the Queen, and the Princesses. A high spot this for the crowd. royal farewells begin, to be plainly seen in all of them is sincerity. There's a catch at my throat as I see the princesses curtsy to their grandmothers. Even the train seems impatient. The royal travellers go aboard. Their daughters go with them as far as Portsmouth. The arrival at Portsmouth. More meetings and partings. This is a big moment for the city. We're run very high. All possible points of vantage are strongly held by many more people than they can easily accommodate. And the King Admiral goes very good sob. The air is heavy with emotional loyalty. Has sailed. Aeroplanes dip in salute. Being a popular ballad. God send you back to me. And I don't think I'm the only one who thought of it either. These old Maytime customs are never ending. At Helston, down Cornwall way, it's all different. The occasion affects everybody's feet, with an itch to dance and dance. And they do, all together in the floral dance idea. Can you see better now? So that the dancers may enter and leave luck and happiness behind by their visit. And the little dog laugh fun when some couples ran Helston look as if it had put the clock back 100 years. In fact, these old May Day customs
will remain a neutral nation, but I cannot ask that every American remain neutral in thought as well. Even a neutral has a right to take account of facts. Even a neutral cannot be asked to close his mind or to close his conscience. I have said not once but many times that I have seen war and that I hate war. I say that again and again. I hope the United States will keep out of this war. I believe that it will, and I give you assurance and reassurance that every effort of your government will be directed toward that end, as long as it remains within my power to prevent. There will be no blackout of peace in the United States. My countrymen and my friends, my single duty is to speak to the whole of America. I had hoped against hope that some miracle would prevent a devastating war in Europe and bring to an end the invasion of Poland by Germany. For 4 long years, a succession of actual wars and constant crises have shaken the entire world and have threatened in each case to bring on the gigantic conflict which is today unhappily a fact. It is right to point out that the unfortunate events of these recent years have been based on the use of force or on the threat of force. And it seems to me clear, even at the outbreak of this great war, that the influence of America should be consistent in seeking for humanity a final peace which will eliminate, as far as it is possible to do so, the continued use of force between nations. You must master at the outset a simple but unalterable fact in modern foreign relations. When peace has been broken anywhere, the peace of all nations everywhere is in danger. Very good.
My fellow servants of the Americas, all of the men and the women of this Pan-American Scientific Congress have come here tonight, I think, with heavy hearts. During the past few years, you and I have seen event follow event, each and every one of them a shock to our hopes for the peaceful development of modern civilization as we know it. And this very day, the 10th of May, 1940, this very day, 3 more independent nations have been cruelly invaded by force of arms. I am glad that we Americans, of the 3 Americas, are shocked, that we are angered by the tragic news that has come to us from Belgium and the Netherlands and Luxembourg.
Seldom has there been in history a more unwarranted violation of good faith on the part of any nation, and a more brutal attack on all that is decent in the relations between cultured states, as we are witnessing now on the part of Germany. True to its principles, the Netherlands are resisting this attack to the fullest extent of their power, and they will fight on as long as there remains one German soldier on Netherlands soil.
Infantry, you say?
No, cavalry.
Cavalry.
Double action, eh? You gonna go?
King Leopold, following the example of his father, King Albert, upholds with the same courage and the same simplicity the laws of national honor, and imposes all the forces of the nation against the invader. Belgium has acquired the experience of facing overwhelming odds, and she knows her enemy.
We are in the presence of a situation in which solemn contractual obligations are being brushed aside. Peaceful nations are being deprived of their independence by brute force and treachery. Conquered populations are being subjected to new refinements of oppression and cruelty. In the face of existing conditions, we have no choice but to expand our program of armament construction to a degree necessary to provide fully adequate means of defending this country's security and its rightful interests. I should like to see this nation geared up to the ability to turn out at least 50,000 planes a year. I ask for an immediate appropriation of $896 million. And may I say that I hope that there will be speed in giving the appropriation. The entire aircraft industry will work at top speed to meet the national defense requirements. With over 20 years of experience and with the great expansion of the last year, we feel confident of being able to produce the great number of airplanes required by President Roosevelt.
If we turn away from the needs of others, we align ourselves with those forces which are bringing about this suffering and which we must eventually try to defeat. Remember, in this country, the gift must be based on your ability to give. Nobody but you can be the judge of what you are able to do. But let it be more than you have before thought you could give to others.
Today's threat to our national security is not a matter of military weapons alone. We know of new methods of attack. The Trojan horse, the fifth column that betrays a nation unprepared for treachery, spies, saboteurs, and traitors are the actors in this new strategy. These dividing forces are undiluted poison. They must not be allowed to spread in the new world as they have in the old. Our moral and our mental defenses must be raised up as never before against those who would cast a smokescreen across our vision.
Now.
The mission to relieve the suffering of the innocent, homeless, and hungry victims of the war is the big job that faces those who live in places where there's peace. All of us, I know, are going to do everything we can for this worthy cause. Thank you.
You have the confidence and the gratitude and the love of your countrymen. We are all with you in the task which enlists the services of all Americans, the task of keeping the peace in this new world of ours. The first number drawn by the Secretary of War is serial number 158.
There it is.
So, you know what I said?
If Great Britain goes down, the Axis powers will control the continents of Europe and Asia and Africa and Australasia and the high seas, and they will be in a position to bring enormous military and naval resources against this hemisphere. It is no exaggeration to say that all of us in the Americas would be living at the point of a gun. Analyze for yourselves the future of two other places even nearer to Germany if the Nazis won. Could Ireland hold out? Would Irish freedom be permitted as an amazing exception in an unfree world? Or the islands of the Azores, which still fly the flag of little Portugal after 5 centuries. We know now that a nation that can have peace with the Nazis only at the price of total surrender. The people of Europe who are defending themselves do not ask us to do their fighting. They ask us for the implements of war, the planes, the tanks, the guns, the freighters, which will enable them to fight for their liberty and our security. There is no demand for sending an American expeditionary force outside our own borders. There is no intention by any member of your government to send such a force. The nation expects our defense industries to continue operation without interruption by strikes or lockouts. We must be the great arsenal of democracy. For us, this is an emergency as serious as war itself. There will be no bottlenecks in our determination to aid Great Britain. No dictator, no combination of dictators will weaken that determination by threats of how they will construe that determination. I believe that the Axis powers are not going to win this war. I base that belief on the latest and the best information.
Does not get all the luck. She, with its joy, and other vessels sunk without explosion is no regrets. Overboard as the ships dive hurriedly. Madden was torpedoed by an enemy E-boat. Other warships fed to the skeleton crew were ordered to the boats. During this trying time, the Bulldog successfully performed. Even as he is hoisted aboard, the watcher reports from volunteers, called for by the ship's commander. Practically every man jack. The injured vessel was immediately by the recent Admiralty announcement while fighting a gallant action against enemy.
We have seen the American motion picture become foremost in all the world. We've seen it reflect our civilization throughout the rest of the world, the aims and the aspirations and the ideals of a free people and of freedom itself. The motion picture industry has utilized its vast resources of talent and facilities, in a sincere effort to help the dictators, those who enforce the totalitarian form. It's a dangerous thing for their unfortunate peoples to know that in our democracy, officers of the government are the servants and never the masters of the people.
Thank you very much, sir. It's a great thrill to me to receive in the picture you did called Philadelphia Story.
Thank you, Miss Fontaine. I don't know how to express my gratitude. I don't know how it happened that I have it in my hand, but I have. And I'm indeed grateful. And this is the greatest moment of my life. Thank you.
They're off. At the break, it's Royal Crusader going to the front. The Beautiful is second. The Bayview is next on the outside. Hysterical is moving up, and Mealand and Porter's Cap are racing close up. Coming by the sand the first time, it's Bayview in front by a head. Sweep-eyed is second on the outside by a half a length. Hysterical is third on the rail by a half a length. Porter's Cap is next and moving up on the outside by a half a length. Woof Woof by a length and a half. Can't Wait and the Beautiful on the rail. Around the turn, it's Bayview still in front by a 1 length. Sweep-eyed is second by a head. Porter's Cap is third on the outside. Bayview in front on the inside by a head. Sweep-eyed is second by a 1 length. Porter's Cap is third by a head. Can't Wait is fourth on the outside by 1 length. High County is next on the rail by a head. Hysterical by a length and a half, and there goes Mealand and General Manager on the outside. Into the stretch, and it's Bayview in front by a length and a half. Mealand is second by a length and a half. Sweep-eyed is third by a head. Hysterical is next on the inside. Into the stretch, and it's Bayview in front under the whip by a half a length. Mealand is second and driving on the outside. And there comes Bolingbroke. It's Bayview and the Mealand. It's Bayview and Mealand is going to be a driving finish as they come across the line. It's Bayview by a half a length. Mealand is second by 4 lengths. And Bayview, a 50-to-1 shot, is the winner.
Hawks, which discovered too late that the British pilot planes of these once proud birds of the hills of desert, pock-marked venomous machines, was vaunted Fiat finds of sand which will soon give attack upon Tobruk, which broke the defenders' resistance in a space between them and their objective of stores and ammunition. Italian soldiery and bombardment, Tobruk is uncannily silent as our troop surrender is complete. All fight has gone out of the rest of our forces is uninterrupted. Now, did I say they looked a relieved crowd? Look at their broad smiles as they anticipate a free holiday for the duration. Enjoy it in company with their regimental mascot. And, of course, there's yet another reason for their smile. Expression on the faces of these Italian women. Benito Mussolini Street has got it where the chicken got the axe. As naval and military almost beam at the camera as a British officer invites them to pose for this picture. Months ago, their Libyan magician, the disappearing Graziani, promised they should go. What could be fairer than that?
Their feet are on the prisoner's way, not on that victim. These 4 generals include divisional commanders, first big batch of prisoners to arrive in Bombay on their way to an internment camp, and their first attack, and fought in a manner to make the British troops bear no ill will toward. The Italian soldier has been led into
I want you to repeat after me. Did. I did it. S did it. H did it. Letter T, da. Da. O, da. Those are the dashes of the alphabet. Now let's take note. Put your phones on.
we are now ready to forge ahead and to cast the full strength of American industrial power into the struggle against aggression. The opponents of this legislation intend to keep up the fight, to keep American boys out of the Holocaust of Europe's wars.